All right. So let's get started. So the whole point of this workshop today, and I'll be doing them every week, however many times I can get on here. But today's topic is how to maintain a high vibrational life. And I wanted to introduce myself first. My name is Shante Cohn. I am a licensed professional counselor. I am a coach and I am a psychic. And I deal with basically the soul journey, high vibrational living. I deal with how to, sorry, I deal with how to live the life of your dreams, how to get what you want, how to get into manifesting, all these things that I think a lot of people hear about or they're interested in and they're not sure how to achieve. So today we're going to talk about predominantly those little things you can be doing every day to keep your vibration high, to start getting your dreams going, to start living the life that you want. And I'm going to start with it more simply because I think what's most important is getting consistency and is having fun, because I think a lot of people tap out of mental health and wellness because it's just so much damn work. And so my whole thing is work smarter, not harder. And how can you actually have a life? Because it's not like a New Year's resolution where I'm going to lose so many pounds, or I'm going to do this, by such and such date. That never, ever works. And it doesn't work because it's this mindset of we need to change stuff that's bad about us and we need to do it as quickly as possible. But really what we're talking about, this is life. You want a happy, abundant life. How do you live your life so that you can maintain that? So everyone's probably across the board with where they are on that. You might meditate, you might do yoga, you might do counseling. And so I want you guys to let me know your questions, let me know anything that comes up for you specifically, and I can answer those and give you some more tailored information. But I'm going to start with sharing, for those people in my class, I'm going to share this this presentation I made. So let's get started. And let me know if you can't see that. But this presentation is living a high vibrational life. Let me see if I can get it to go full screen. Okay, so first things first, I want to make sure everyone can see that. So let me know if you can't, because sometimes I feel like I have problems with the presentations. Okay, so can everyone see that? Okay, cool. Thanks, Faith. I still need to warm up better on my online presentations. I do a lot of in-person presentations, but not online. So let's see. So how to maintain a high vibrational life. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, what is a high vibrational life? Most of you guys know what a high vibrational life, but basically speaking, to me, a high vibrational life is about managing positive energy. So a lot of what we're talking about is energy. It's how to work with energy. It's how to even understand what energy is. It's how to get into, I say, behind the scenes of your life. So getting out of the stressors, your job, your family, all those things, and getting to the building blocks and the fabrics of reality. So when you can do that and you can maintain the positive energy, you can live a life that's more abundant and that's more happy, and you can get the goals you want and all those sorts of things. So benefits of a high vibrational life. Oops, skipped it. 1 second. Oh no. So the benefits of a high vibrational life. It's more than a buzzworthy topic. So I know a lot of people talk about like a new age spiritualism, this is high vibe, this is low vibe, those kind of things. But how, what's the benefits? It's more than just something that we've come up with, new age spiritualism. It's something that I think has been the topic since the beginning of mankind. How can you live with the suffering? How do you deal with your needs not being met? How do you deal with trauma? And how do you raise yourself above that? So We won't talk a lot about it, the mental health and the trauma part, but it is about starting to get into that health. So whether you're coming from a place of mental health, physical health, or spiritual health, or whether you're getting to a place where you're starting to work on all sorts of aspects of your health, it is a lifelong process. It's a soul journey. So it's basically about how can I be well in mind, body, and soul. And the benefits of this living a high vibe life is you start to see less mental health issues. You start to see your physical goals starting to manifest. So you want to be healthy in body. You start to see that when you do this work, it all becomes very holistic. It's all tied together. So it becomes more than just, I want to work on my mental health issues. I want to, lose so much weight or do this. It becomes, I feel good. I look good. I live good because I am working on my vibration. So it's actually working smarter, not harder, simplifying the process from all these little things that are bothering us to living this life and watching those things manifest from what we're doing. So relationships, we find deeper connections, we find love and intimacy, and we are missing that by and large in our society. We have a lot of relationship issues. We don't feel connected. We don't know how to express love. We have hierarchies and, I'm not going to love you more than you love me. So we're scared. And so overall, really, we're living in a world in the primitive brain. So if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we are not getting past a lot of times those basic needs. We aren't excelling and we aren't mastering into greater levels of need. And so we are having relationship issues. We are having mental health issues, stress. And with the pandemic, we have significant mental health issues and trauma. That was global trauma. We aren't feeling good in body and soul. And so doing this work, decreased mental health issues, increased happiness, increased sense of life satisfaction. So when Maslow, who we talk about in psychology quite a bit, was building his pyramid of this is what you need here in the foundation to get here and here and here and here, all the way to self-actualization, this is what he's talking about. So you can look at it from science, you can look at it all the way to woo-woo. It really doesn't matter what you call it. Everything is everything. Everything's kind of really talking about in philosophy and these key concepts of how to get to this higher state of being, how to get out of the terror and the primitive mind to the more abstract and symbolism of the higher mind, to this place where you're able to dabble in energy, you're able to build with these constructs. So let's move on to the next one and let me know if you have questions. So why is it important? We kind of touch base on that, but it attracts positivity, abundance, and good health. So I really want to touch into, a lot of the work I do is with manifesting. We get from this tangible, logical world where we simply want to not be so stressed out and have so much anxiety. But the more we do this work, we get into a place where we can manifest our reality. So what that means is you really do get to a place where you say, I want this dream to unfold. I want to have this situation occur. And because of the work you're doing, you literally can shape your reality. And so that's the work I love doing. And that's how I live my life is I work every day with these tips I'll tell you about to build the life I want. And at first it seems scary. It seems like, this isn't, the logical world, but the more you do it, the more you exponentially grow into this life of positivity and abundance. So it can be hard, and I'll talk more about that next week, some blocks, especially how to address blocks in your wellness game and in your life and what to do about them. But it's important because you can fulfill your desires and needs. We're allowed to have our desires met. We're allowed to have our needs met. We're not supposed to be living a life of suffering all the time. And most of you might not think that's how your mind is wired. But when I ask people, in session, have counseling sessions with them or coaching, and I ask them what they want, a lot of them will tell me what they don't want. A lot of it will be, well, this is a problem. We are living in a mind that is a cage and a trap. So how do you get out of that? So it is important because we're on a soul journey. We all want to reach self-actualization, or at least, climb up the ladder towards that. And so that's why it's important to live high vibration. So working towards momentum, a lot of the stuff and the things that we'll talk about in the next couple slides, it's about building momentum. So it's not doing everything perfect. That's a mindset we get trapped in of, oh, I'm not going to yoga. I'm not eating how I'm supposed to eat. I wish, I'm not taking my counselor's advice like I should, or I'm not even going to a counselor. None of that matters. What matters is, are you taking one step and are you taking another? The time frame will get better as you go, but it's really starting to understand that this is a long-term game. It's the life game. So it really is a rewiring of the mind, because everything that you say, everything that you do has weight. So when you think about it, every single thing that you change in your world, every single thing you change in how you speak changes your life. In the beginning, it's very hard because if you think about it, for however many years you've been on this planet, you've been thinking a certain way, doing a certain, way of living. And so you've built up this life. And if everything we think, say, and do manifests the world around us, you've been manifesting, whether you knew it or not, or wanted it or not, a life based on 0 through 7, how you were programmed, things that happened to you, trauma. It influenced how you think, speak, and act. So right now you've been exponentially growing larger and larger and larger and larger, this reality to usually you get a place where you feel sick, you have significant mental health issues, you feel disconnected, you're not happy, and you got to get to a place of extreme suffering, usually for you to do something. But the cool thing is the opposite thing applies. In the beginning, it might be hard to change your thoughts, what you're saying, or how you're behaving. But for each and every reaction you have, for each and everything that you do, there's an equal and opposite reaction, which means exponentially, you're going to start to grow this other reality, but it takes time and it takes patience. So the reason I tell you guys these things is so that when you get to the 18th day and you're feeling stressed, you're feeling disheartened, you feel like you don't have faith, it's about remembering I went this far for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years this way. It's going to take me time to get to the other side. And I'm stacking every day with every single thing I do to my reality of positivity. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do, the most rewarding thing. So observe yourself. That's the biggest thing I tell everyone all the time. Observe this internal state. What am I thinking? Okay, cool. I just thought something I really don't like. Instead of getting mad at yourself, we say, I thought that 3 times in the last 30 minutes. It must be important. Or what am I saying? What am I doing? What's going on? How are my relationships? But we really want to turn into this internal world. We are programmed to look outside of ourselves. This person's mad at me. This relationship isn't going how I want it to be. This is my career and I'm not happy with it. We want to get into here. My relationship makes me feel this in my heart and my gut. My job makes me feel this in my head and in my gut. That's what we're trying to get to. And so depending on where you are, it's very a different concept of realizing you're looking out of a window and you have no idea what's going on. And this is an entire world. So observe you, add weight to what you want in thought, voice, and actions. As you feel more confident, I want to feel abundance. Okay, well then add weight to every thought you have that is abundant. Wow, today I'm grateful for this. Wow, I'm really lucky for this. Let's say you said that once in the week. Great, you just put one more building block towards what you want. So exponentially grow change. And you build the patience and all that as you go. So raising your vibration, the foundation. This is not an extensive list. This is what I like to give you guys, especially going on your own and just joining on an online workshop. I want to give you something that is easily obtainable, easily doable, and that you guys are able to replicate in your own lives without, support, because there's a reason I do what I do. It's hard. But how do you do this on your own? So practicing faith seems simple enough. I'm not talking about any sort of connotations with faith, but what are you working for? Why does this matter to you? And does it matter enough for you to say when it gets hard, I'm doing this. I don't care what it takes. I'll work to the end of this life to try to find this, because sometimes it's what it takes. This is the mastery of the mind. So I was talking about the primitive mind. The primitive mind wants you to be safe. It does not care if you are happy, and it does not care if you have, love in your life. It can be sad about not having those things, but what it cares about is about that you're not getting eaten by a bear, or that you have food, water, and shelter. But the thing is, a lot of us in modern day society aren't getting chased by bears, aren't having to worry about, different types of hardships and crisis. But it doesn't matter. The brain interprets, a negative review at your job interview or whatever. It interprets those things as bears. So that's why when we think of people that are millionaires and how they must have such a great life, it doesn't matter where you come on the spectrum. You have your own sets of problems that are equally heavy to wherever you fall on the spectrum, whether it's socioeconomic, demographic, or anything else. So you just need to know you. So mastery of the mind, what you believe is what you see. What are you believing? Just keep, we talked about this already. Just keep a running tally. What is going on here? I'm noticing I have a really big lack mindset. Okay. Is that what you want? No, just note it. Another really easy way, surround yourself with positive people and environments. So in the beginning, you're going to notice that people might be hard to be around, or that environments that you in really wear you out. So honor yourself. What is around you and what is influencing you? In the beginning, I really noticed I couldn't listen to some type of music. I have a very hard time with the news. And there's some people I can't tolerate. And it's not to be rude, it's not to be angry. It's that, what do you want? If you truly want happiness, you're going to be around other people that are happy. And that can be a really big, difficult thing in the high vibrational journey. Is what you want, you must believe you deserve and surround yourself with. So that means a lot of change. But in the beginning, we can dabble. Does this music serve me? Does this TV program serve me? Do I like it? Am I uncomfortable? It's a lot of reflection. So affirmations, you probably all heard of affirmations. It kind of ties with a lot of this. Is it changes the setting of your brain. A lot of this, what we're talking about, is the neural pathways in your brain. So they were formed, as I said, from 0 to 7. You didn't choose the formation. And now you're trying to get in there and get different synapses to fire. Instead of getting triggered, you want to get to a place of calm. And so we're slowly but surely becoming masters of our mind and rewiring the brain. Affirmations are a really good, simple way to do that. So change the settings of your brain. You can write them out, but the high vibe skill, I will say, is speaking them out. So what we speak is how we kind of play with our reality. So when I say money comes freely and frequently and from different sources, I am saying that I believe this, and the mind starts to buy into that. We're kind of in a spiritual warfare almost with ourselves. Anything that we can do to change the tide exponentially to what we want to do. So speak them to yourself. One of the things I tell my clients all the time is that I know I'm weird. I know I'm a weirdo because I talk all the time to myself aloud. I speak my affirmations aloud. If something isn't going how I want it to go, the way I want it to go, I say how I want it to go. And you feel pretty weird in the beginning sometimes, but when you start to see it working, you start to not care how you look. So some good examples, I surrender myself to love, the money stuff, things like that. So raising your vibration, the foundation, number 2. Building a relationship to your body. So this is usually where I get people when I work with them, is they have started some mental health. They understand, like, yeah, I need to change how I'm thinking. I do affirmations, I'm changing who I'm talking to. I'm starting to do boundaries, but I'm stuck. It's because very much discount the body. Our society is not in tune with the body, aside from it should look a certain way and you should eat healthy, which is very superficial, surface level topics within the connection of mind body. The body is the balance to the mind. So if you can get in there and build this relationship with your body, you have a significant amount of control of what the mind's doing. So just simplistically speaking, getting control of your breath and learning how to slow down the breath and to breathe deeply and slowly forces the parasympathetic nervous system to slow down, to take you out of flight, or freeze. So there are tricks and tips to be able to connect with your body and to start asserting control over the mind. So the interesting thing that I tell people, and sometimes they might have trouble starting, is you speak to your body. You speak to your body like a beloved mind. When they say your body is a temple, they are not kidding. A lot of things from old philosophies, religions, all those things, they have a lot of truth in these tools that keep you ascending. So your body is a temple. Your body has control over how you feel. Your body has control how if you're sick, if there's disease. And when you get to a certain place, you can control those things. So when I am sick, 90% of the time, I control it and stop it. But that takes a very intimate connection with your body. What does it like? How does it feel? Are you taking care of it? Because most of the time, well, all the time, what your body is doing is what you've told it to do. And this is the hardest thing, because it's not about blaming, but if you don't love yourself, if you think you're this or that, or you're not good enough, your body is going to break down. It believes what you tell it. You're not good enough. Okay, well then I break down. I'm not good enough. So get to know your body. And the reason we say beloved and like a sacred relationship is because this thing can change everything. It deserves respect. And when you get that level of gratitude and respect, it's an energy. You hold that energy, my beloved, my body, and then all of a sudden this body is magical. This body is manifesting what you want. So it's almost like we're going to a tax person. We're saying, hey, I want you to do this for free. I don't value you and I don't care about this, but you need to do it. And then expecting them to do a good job. I'm not going to pay you either. Likely it's not going to happen. We have a good relationship with the tax attorney or the tax person, accountant. They might get us more write-offs. They might tell us secrets, so things like that. Connecting authentically with the body, speak to the body. So it's your energetic instrument. It holds your truth and emotions. It balances the mind. And when you master it, you influence its functions. And it also is the harbor of emotions, which is a whole topic in and of itself. Emotions is how I teach others and how I taught myself to finally be able to understand what is energy, not this abstract concept, but be able to feel, express, and to manipulate energy. So your body is holding kind of a treasure trove of tools and gifts. So observation. I mentioned this over and over and over, and we already talked about it, but the foundational tools I believe in a wellness game is observation and self-care. Observation, because the journey is always going to twist and turn and change. Things are always going to be different. Things are always going to stump us. We're going to have stressors. We're going to have, traumas happen. But if you observe, you get to this place, the observer, this omnipresence within yourself that just watches what's happening and observes it. And from there, you can understand it and change it. So you develop these skills. How am I feeling? What am I doing? Do I like this? And at a very simple form, does my body feel open or closed, good or bad? So that's what I start clients off with is, does your body feel good or bad? And, I don't really buy into good or bad, but does it feel open or closed? And that's how you start to develop high advanced skills in your spiritual skill set. So another one, I'm sure you see in New Age spiritualism, I always saw people dancing, doing drum circles, and I've always been kind of like turned off by the science of psychology. It was too sciencey for me, but then I'd be a little turned off by the new age spiritualism. I'm not so much turned off by those anymore, but in the beginning I was like, I'm not dancing. I'm not doing a drum circle. I'm not doing these things. But the further I got, I started to understand the purpose. So it's movement of the body. You don't have to do a drum circle. You can do a drum circle. You can do belly dancing. You can do pole dancing. It really doesn't matter. Move your body. And so I put, oh, I skipped self-care. We'll come back to that. But I put dancing because for me, it's easy. You can shuffle your body around. You can move your body around. You can shake your body around in the privacy of your own home. I like to wake up, and this is more of an advanced thing. I take stock of how I feel, I meditate, but I move my body. I'm not feeling open right now. So therefore I move the energy out. I get a high vibrational playlist. I make something that's motivating, it's empowering. You know, you can have multiple playlists. What do I want to achieve today? What is the energetic and emotional vibe I want today? And then we dance it out. So it helps get rid of dense energies, but it also helps you start manifesting. When you start to have a vibe that you're choosing, maybe having some intentions, it helps you to maintain this lifestyle. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a funk and it just dragging my body to dance. And I'm like, I'm not going to live this way. I'm not going to live this way. And sometimes it comes to that. You know, there are a lot of things that will try to bring you down and try to stress you out, and you gotta want it, and so you employ these tools. So dance it out, make a playlist. Stretching. It doesn't really matter where you're coming from, because some people are like, you know, working out, yoga, all that stuff is way too advanced. I just can't do that. Well, stretching, that's as simple as, you know, moving your arms. I have really bad shoulders. So what I do is just go like this, like, how are my shoulders today? What's going on? And my body speaks to me. They're not doing good. They're really tight. And the more you do this, you start to get to deeper levels. They're really tight because I'm holding trauma here. They're really tight because of this vibration and this energy. And so that becomes more and more advanced. But it starts with, how does the body feel? So a lot of times when I walk, I'm very aware of what I walk. And part of that is also opening up the sacral chakra. We get into that sensuality, and both men and women have that, the sensuality and play with the world around us. And so when I walk, how am I walking in space? You know, my hip isn't feeling as fluid as I want. So let's, fix that. And then ask my body, hey, can you sink into my hips so I'm not hurting myself? And then, the more advanced you get, your body does. Can you stop this pain in my knee? Shift the body weight and balance yourself so my knee doesn't hurt. And it does. So stretching is just fine. Wake up, stretch your hands over your head, take a break from your desk and your seat, move your body, just be mindful, connect with yourself. And then, of course, exercise, yoga, and sports. This different difficulty levels for everyone. But I do want to touch on this because getting to that place is important, not because culture tells us to. I really make that distinction, probably because of myself, because that always was a hard thing for me. It's because your body needs to express itself. So it's very appropriate to express that in exercise, yoga, and sports. We all know, I'm sure, yoga is it's based in these philosophies. That's why it works so well. It helps you to connect and move energy. Sports are a good way to do that, and going to the gym is fine. The thing I tell my clients is set an intention. Let's move from the place where I need to do this because it's my New Year's resolution or because society says so, to a place of, I'm doing this for my wellness, and the results are to remain unknown, but today I want to feel happy. Or I woke up feeling very angry. Today, I'm going to express my anger while I'm running. I do that quite a bit, especially in the beginning. I would work out and, name my intentions. I am going to move this anger. I am feeling blocked. I don't feel okay, and I can't get it out. So that's a really cool thing about all of this, is when you're blocked, moving your body is a way to force that movement within yourself. And sometimes, desperate times call from desperate measures, and that's what you need to do, step it up to that level. So I skip self-care, but observation and self-care are pivotal in the foundation of everything that I teach, because it's always going to serve you, and it's back to basics. Something's always going to happen. You're going to work. You're going to feel abundance. You're going to make it to this level you want. You're going to have all these downloads. And then all of a sudden you're back to this place where you're like, what am I doing? What's happening? And I feel blocked. It's just the nature of the spiritual journey. So every time I go back to observation and self-care, I literally don't know what's going on right now, because I have raised my frequency to a literally new playing field. I don't understand what's going on. And so I just sit and observe. And especially, does my body feel open or closed? It feels closed. Does it feel good or bad? It feels bad. Then I observe. So that's the simplistic form of it. How do I feel? I don't like it. I observe. What can I do about it? I do self-care. And so self-care is making all of the self feel cared for and loved. And so I wanted to talk about self-care as a whole topic in and of itself as well. But mainly speaking, especially in the beginning, we do not care what we're doing. I mean, you don't want to endanger yourself. We don't want to be doing things that are going to endanger ourselves and others. We really don't want to do that. But like toxic coping mechanisms, I'll have my clients will be like, I shouldn't be doing this. Why am I eating again? Why am I doing this? Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. You're doing it. So this is important because every behavior has a reason. When we observe, we understand their reason, we accept it, we surrender, and we can move past it. But fighting ourselves and getting angry about it doesn't change it. And I think we've all experienced that. So toxic coping is part of the long game. Everything tells you a story about yourself. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is truly bad. It is simply a stepping stone to where you want to go. And that is reframing. That is what I have reframed in my mind. And since I have done that, nothing can stop me. Something might make me slow down, but nothing is going to get away of my freedom. So it's all in what you tell yourself. So raise your vibration, moderate tools, meditation and mindfulness. So I'm sure all of you, know about that. Some tips I'd give for easy meditation and mindfulness is guided meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, and body scans. You get those on YouTube. There are apps like Calm, Gaia, and then I have my Soul Academy, as well as we have an app for the Soul Academy. I'm building that out right now. So all of these things, basically the whole point of them, whether it's YouTube or my app, is to give you that guided meditation, to give you that audio, to give you that video, so that you don't actually have to sit and try to clear your mind. Most people make the mistake of, I need to clear my mind. I need to clear my mind. No, you want to sit and be with yourself. What is it like to be you right now in this moment? Clearing your mind is an advanced technique. You want to learn to just sit, to learn and just be able to say, it's meditation time. It's mindfulness time. And whether your mind is going up and down all around the whole time or not, it's irrelevant. What matters is that you are putting your foot in the door and opening this door of, I am going to meditate now. That was horrible. I didn't get my mind to calm down. It wasn't what I wanted. It doesn't matter. We are going for the nth degree of energy. We are changing our behaviors. So I don't care if you started it and did 30 seconds. It literally doesn't matter. What does matter is your mindset. I tried today. Okay, great. Try again tomorrow. And I will say, I am the queen of chaos, especially in the beginning. It took everything for me to do anything like with consistency. So I was a very good case of, someone you'd say, they're just being lazy. They're not trying. People come from different walks of life. They take different amounts of time, and they have different gifts. My gifts were not first apparent. People that have difficulty with consistency, they're very hard on themselves, but they have different gifts that'll show themselves as they level up. So have faith in yourself. It might take you 2 years to start meditating, 5 years, 20 years. It doesn't matter. Just prove to yourself that you are worth it enough to try again and again. So those are good examples of that. Eventually you can get to a place where you're doing your own meditation, you're sitting and breathing. One thing I didn't mention is box breathing. If you're having, we're going into breath work. So if you have trouble with breathing and calming your breath down, you just think about counting as you breathe. So a good example is that box breathing. So we count in for 5 or 6, we hold for 5 or 6, we exhale for 5 or 6, and we hold for 5 or 6, and we just keep doing that. So the difficulty with meditation and mindfulness is we're in a go, 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 go world. That takes a lot of patience. And so it's commitment. The counting helps with the mind because the mind wants to hold on to something. It's like, well, what are we doing? Why is this happening? I don't like this. So we count, 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 count to kind of be a bridge. I'm giving the mind fuel. I'm giving it something to think about as we developed this habit. And so that's why that's a really good foundational, but moderate skill to learn towards your wellness. So a reason it could be not working is you're hyperventilating, shallow breaths, or breathing too quickly. So a lot of times in the beginning of wellness, we are reacting to things, right? So I am really anxious right now. And it's to the point where I finally notice it because I'm not in the habit of observing myself. So I'm going to do breath work. But now I'm hyperventilating and this is really hard and this is not working and it doesn't even work. So that's literally the process. We don't have that patience muscle, that strength. And so just trying to slow it down, and then the numbers help us with what we're trying to accomplish there. Okay. So all of this stuff, I don't know where you guys are in your journey. But I think those are the kind of things, if you go to workshops or if you go to a counselor or if you get into holistic services, you're going to get a lot of help with. And I think that we are pretty good about finding tools in those areas. And I think we understand those things pretty well. Like I said before, it's not an exhaustive list, but the advanced stuff, I think, is where it might be harder to find someone to help you, or it might be harder to know where you're going with these, because a lot of this is building off the foundational tools. So when we're observing and we're doing self-care, we might do journaling, right? We might make a vision board, but we're basically trying to build this foundation and working towards a place of, it's almost like math. I learned addition, I learned subtraction, and now I'm going up, to calculus. So we're getting to a place where we culminate all this stuff to build to the bigger things. So the things I call advanced are where we start to get to like this flexibility in mind. So, and where we start to get into manifesting, energy work, rituals and spells, astral projection, dream interpretation, symbolism, and trance work. And the biggest themes across all of these is letting go of the rigidity of the mind. So all those earlier tools I'm talking about, they help you to get to basically a concept. You start to lose the tangibility as you get more advanced. So you can do a ritual where you write something down or journal something, but the concept is what we're looking for in advanced tools. So I'll just go through it, like improvising. So you might have decided that when you wake up, you're going to dance, you like doing vision boards, you might decide that you're going to go to yoga. But the biggest thing is you get to this place where you're not trying to figure out what you're doing or asking somebody what you need to do. You are improvising and following your own life path and your own intuition. And there's a flexibility that comes with that. We don't get stumped as much. We don't get stuck as much. We're able to go with the flow more so. And some people are naturally like that. A lot of us struggle with that. But I think the important thing is we improvise with our own wellness. So a big advanced tool is being able to be so in tune with yourself. I feel my body, I feel my emotions, I observe this internal landscape, and then I respond, and it gets faster and faster and faster. Your self-care becomes fluid with your life. And so another part of that is imagination. And so the fluidity and the improvising, I think, comes with just time after time after time. So working through it. I go to the gym, I journal, you start to get an ability to improvise. Imagination sometimes takes a lot of determination and work on your part. So that could be doing a lot of guided imagery through guided meditation. It could be sitting down. So I meditate and I imagine landscapes or traveling different places. Everyone comes to imagination from different places. Some of us are very heavily in logic. And so like when I do guided meditation with people, some people can't follow along. They have a very hard time because they cannot abstractly think that. And that's fine. To me, it's a skill that you can build up. So looking on YouTube again, or apps, or my site for different tools that help with that. So imagining rich environments. We're not doing this guided meditation to relieve stress. We're doing it specifically to develop our imagination. And that can be hard to find, but it's something I wanted to bring up here because if you're actively trying to live a high vibe life and get into advanced tools, I want people to know imagination is crucial because where we're going in manifesting, you're imagining a life that you've never lived before. You're imagining something that you don't see around you, or else you would be living it. So imagination is taking all these factors. I know this is important to me in my soul. I really want security and connection. Okay. And I know it feels this way to not have it. And I've used my imagination and my abilities to work with energy to feel what it could feel like. And then I use my imagination and my mind visualization to imagine what it would be like to find someone I connected with, to find safety. These are the things I create within the concepts of my mind, and then I speak them. So you see, it becomes almost the glue that holds everything in, but it has to be super fluid. And so finding tools that work on that. I wish I had more resources for you, but maybe, really go into childhood, watching cartoons, playing more is very important. I can't believe I forgot playing with your children, your nieces, your nephews, doing fun things like that, where it's very imaginative and it's very intuitive and it's very spontaneous. That will help you with that. And again, visualizations and guided imagery, reading fantasy novels, things that are very fantastical will help with that. And manifesting. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard about manifesting or might even practice manifesting, but manifesting was something I didn't even know I wanted to get into, but I knew I didn't like this. I didn't like what was around me. I didn't like the pain and suffering, and I didn't like how I always seemed to never be getting my needs met, and my soul wasn't happy. And so as I went through college, they talked a lot about how, we take in data through this world. This is all just energy. Our body takes it in through the senses, sight, touch, taste, smell, and then it is interpreted by the brain. So this is pure data, but then it's interpreted by hardware that is influenced, and we did not wire, like we didn't set up the programming. So again, 0 through 7, we know as babies and toddlers in early childhood, whatever we've got going on, trauma, religious affiliations, politics, it doesn't matter whether you like them or you don't, you didn't get to choose that. So you are living a life that you didn't choose. And whether you do believe it or not, it's important to know how it fits into your dream world. So I will take an example from me because I don't believe in anything being wrong or right necessarily. But, I grew up in, I'm trying to think of something that's not, I grew up in a very liberal household, let's say. And so it was very liberal in certain ways, but what that was hard for me was I had no ability to be, like I said, more grounded. So I don't even mean like politics liberal. There was like everything was super intuitive. It was highly emotional. So some people could say very traumatic, a lot of chaos. And so I wasn't able to understand what it was like to be grounded, was to have safety. And so a lot of us have that with trauma. And so you are able to actually understand a reality that is safe. So manifesting is how we get what we want. So as I found I didn't have that, I started searching my body and it wasn't present. All I found was fear, being not grounded and those kind of things. And so doing the work and getting in the body and starting to feel the energy in the body, we can start to change our vibration, work with our chakras, and then attract that, but also influence the energy and send it out, so that's a deeper thing that I teach. And all of these things are things I teach. And I think it's hard to find a lot of support in these areas. But magic, spells, and rituals, I think all of this really ties together. So whether you believe in Wicca or you don't believe in witches, or you think witches are just, for cartoons or shows, it really doesn't matter. All of this stuff is how you interpret it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But if you like it, why I tell people it works is because it gives you an outlet to start building structure and control in this world that is really abstract. Energy, you don't see it, debatably. You don't see it, you can't touch it, and all those things. So magic and spells and rituals are a way for the brain to interpret what this thing you can't see, smell, or taste is. And so you can use these things to make rituals. The brain loves rituals. That's why we've had rituals in religion. That's why we have rituals in politics. You go to school and there's a ritual, of how we do things. Birthday celebrations, we sing a song, we have a cake, we light candles. Rituals. They're heavily ingrained in human society throughout any culture, any religion, any race. We have rituals. So magic, spells, and rituals is just saying I'm using what we've already been doing in a way that I choose. I'm harnessing the power of things my brain likes in a way that I choose. And then the magical part makes it fun, because a lot of what I'm talking about is this stuff is a lot. And play and magic brings an element of freedom that we do not experience. And so that's a whole topic too. Astral projection, we talked a little bit about that. So in meditating, it's visualizing places and traveling to places. It's really cool for imagery and improvising and just starting to get out there in abstract thought. So anything you can do with that is helpful. Dream interpretations, I'm not going to go into that too much, because dream interpretations and symbolism really starts to get into these deep, almost earthy tribal things. So when you really starting to get into magic and spells and rituals, you get to the primal self. The primal self is all about the earth, the animal magnetism between people, the repetitive things we see that are drawn to us by energy. So it's just kind of energy in the world really interacting with us. It's a whole different level of ways to interpret your life. And then generative trance, I put that in there, and you could say hypnosis too, but generative trance is, I think, really important, and it goes with meditation as well. It's getting yourself to different states of consciousness. So generative trance is something I do. It's the name of a practice that you can help clients with. But what we're talking here about is trance work. So as you get into meditation, you get yourself to deeper levels of consciousness, to the point where you go from I am Shantae and I'm a counselor to I am Shantae to I am to I. And so what I mean by that is you get rid of all the fluff and you get to your being. And when you're at your being, you can just change things. It's almost like going behind the scenes. It's getting to the very, very building blocks and saying, this needs to change, this needs to change. And when you're in those deep levels of trance, we've just bypassed all of the ego, bypassed all of the cultural conditioning, and we got to our truest selves. So that's just a taste of the advanced tools. But I think you can kind of see all the rest I was able to concretely tell you, and these ones are just more abstract. And so it really is a transition from this reality into not just the mind, but the body. We start to get to the body, and then when we have the mind and body working, we have the soul, and then we just are out in wonderland. And it's true, it really exists, and you really can manifest in that place. So, oh, I think I have them mixed up. Oh no, I'm sorry. I guess I had two of the same. So this is the thing I will say about the Soul Academy. I mentioned it. You guys joined up on Meetup. Basically, the Soul Academy. If you didn't watch the video, I'd recommend you do. It's on the Meetup, but it's a community I made. It's got a lot of resources on it right now: worksheets, challenges, videos, audio. I have some meditations on there. We got a yoga video on there, and we're just adding daily all the time to things on there. So it's a good way to not pay a lot to be able to do your wellness and ask questions and things like that. So workshops and stuff are on there as well. So I included with that some about me. I guess I should have started about this, but I told you a little bit. I've been in the field a long time, 16 years. I've been a counselor for 5 years, and I specialize in these things: transpersonal coaching, which is the soul journey coaching, goddess coaching, wellness, and spiritual experiences. So I think throughout our whole slide, you kind of got a little taste of what I do and what I help people with. But this whole workshop thing is a series for me to start giving back for free. You know, of course, I want to get leads to find my people because I'm supposed to work with a certain type of people. But it's for me to connect as well, because I'm on this path myself, and it's not always an easy path. And so I'm trying to find people that are walking it, and not just business wise for me, but, you know, personal connections. So if you want to go forward, I put those links in the chat box. They will be on Meetup. I will put that, I will send this link to you guys if you want it. You can go in the chat box and give me your email if you'd like. And you can also just see my website, so which is hipandhappy.guru.